that are within that chemical that can lead to it being a fire hazard. That's the section that you go to. Section 5 is health. So if you know if it's going to affect, cause cancer, or cause any other health problems, that's the section that you would go to. Section 6 is reactivity data, meaning you do not want to place a chemical that's very reactive. For example, there are chemicals that react with oxygen. If you don't follow the labeling and you open that box directly in the while you're inside of a room that's full of oxygen, of course, as soon as you open that box, it's going to explode, killing you in the process. So you have to make sure that you pay attention to labels. Section 7 is going to be your spills or leaks. So if you spill a chemical or leak, do not automatically assume you just use a towel or water to clean it up. You have to know what proper procedure you have to take to clean that chemical up. So that's the section you'll go to. Section 8 is your special protection information, whether or not you need a fume hood, goggles, apron, so on and so on. And then you have special precautions, which is at section 9. So that's where you would go. Special precautions is where you would go if something is corrosive, something is very poisonous, something is extremely dangerous in certain ways, and it gives you symbols for those, or it gives you abbreviations for those in that section. So that's the section you go to get those abbreviations. Like corrosive, the COR, or sometimes it shows you a symbol where it has maybe an arm that's been eaten away. That means it's corrosive. Or it has a triangle that's been eaten away. So, or we know the one for health. What's the one for health that's typically used? I know you've seen it before. It's the skull and bone. You've seen the skull and bone in blue. That means something is toxic. And then, of course, fire represents fire. And then there are other. If you see something that has if it's yellow and black with rays coming up on it, does anyone know what that represents? Radioactive. So you have different symbols that will be represented that you will use in the special precaution area. Now, the next slide you have, it says, what does NFPA stands for? That's the National Fire Protection Agency. It includes a diamond-shaped diagram of symbols and numbers to indicate the degree of hazard associated with a particular chemical. So, if you've seen any type of box that has that diamond shape on it with the colors red, yellow, blue, and white, and then it has numbers on it. The numbering system goes from 0 to 4. You can write that over to the side on your paper. It goes from 0 to 4. The numbering system for the NFPA goes from 0 to 4. And basically what that means, and this is for each category, it goes from 0 to 4 in each category. 0 represents normal. That means it will not do anything. 1 represents that it's low. 2 is going to go into it being moderate. 3 is going to go into it being a high risk. And of course, 4 is dead. So when you look at the safety diamond, this is basically how it looks. You have those colors. Blue represents health, red represents fire, yellow represents reactivity, and white represents special precautions. And then it goes into a breakdown of each, which 4, like I told you, is deadly for health. Extreme danger is 3. Hazards is 2. Slightly hazardous is 1. For fire, anything below 73 degrees Fahrenheit, and so on and so on. And then special hazards. So you have OXY. If you see OXY, that means it's an oxidizer, meaning it mixes with air, it's going to explode. So if you see a box with that on that, you do not open it up in air. You take it to a secure facility that does not have oxygen present, such as you go into a fume hood or something where you can suck the oxygen out of it, and then you open that. But you don't open it directly in the room, or else you're going to blow up everything. Then you have acid, you have alkali, corrosive, is COR. You have use no water, because there are many chemicals. There are many chemicals out there that if you put water on them, they will explode. And then, of course, you have RAD, radiation hazards. So that's what you use for special hazards. That goes into the white area. Reactivity. 4 is your high risk. That means it's highly reactive with anything. 3, shock or heat. 2 is violent. And 1 is unstable. 0 is stable. So basically they all mean the same thing. If it's 4, it's bad. If it's 0, it's good. So any questions on that? So now on this next screen here, you are going to draw the NFPA diagram for this chemical. It tells you at the top of your screen, the chemical is very reactive. It has low flammability. It is moderately toxic. And it is very corrosive. So you're going to draw that diamond, like we just seen in the last slide. And you are going to write the number in each part of that diamond that represents reactivity, that represents health, that represents special precautions, and that represents fire. So that is what you're going to do in that portion. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and do that. If you need kind of a refresher, if you flip over to page 2 on that packet you have, that paper you have, it has all that information right there. You're just going to draw the diamond. All you're doing is drawing the diamond, and you're going to write between 0 to 4 for this diamond part, 0 to 4 in this diamond part, 0 to 4 in this diamond part, 0 to 4 in the other diamond part. That's all you're doing. No difficulty there. You can divide it up, something like that. Just write the numbers that are represented. Like that. That's all I want to see. You can put the colors there also if you want to put the colors there. Remember, fire is red. I hope we can remember that one. Health is blue. Reactivity is yellow. And special information or special precautions is white. So once you get your drawing down, just hit submit. Just if it goes back to the thank you screen, just refresh, and it'll take you back. Click on that right. If you click on where it has a little pencil in blue at the top, it tells you what you're supposed to be doing. It gives you a sentence of what I just read. Yes. Yes. Now, this stuff goes with your portion. So we'll look at that to put it in. Yeah. That's how you do it.
There, I did it.
We now have eye coordination.
Gamers tend to know.
No, you don't have to tell her. Yeah.
I thought it was corrosive.
Yeah, that's just information for the first.
Okay, I'm good.
Take this.
Thank you. Why does it look so mad?
I have no idea. Weird down in there. I'm saying. Never had that coordination.
I wish I had pulled out my laptop. It has a touch screen.
All right,
so I
so
could-
in the interest of time, let me look at some of these.
See, that's the W with the line.
Okay.
Now, I've just shared a screen with you.
It's blank.
Now, if we look at what the statement said, the statement said, draw and label the NFPA diamond. Now, if we're looking at a chemical and it is very reactive, which spot, what number would you give something that's very reactive? 4. And very reactive is what color? Red is what?
Blue. Fire hazard, so it'd be
Yellow.
blue.
Red is fire. You won't give me 0 because 0 means that it's not flammable at all. But as long as there's any type of flammability there, it's going to be 1. And then if it's very corrosive, what would you write there?
4.
You wouldn't put a number. You would put the symbol, which is what? You can do the W with the line across it, or you can put COR. Any one of those is fine. You'll find that, like I told you, on the second page. It gives you a lot of the codes right there. And if it's moderately toxic, what would you write for moderately toxic?
2.
2. The only ones that you put numbers on, the other one you write actual codes there.
Here we go. I finally got something.
I did have one that I just shared with you, and that one's pretty correct. Just
It's like if I start in there.
all right. So hopefully you get the next screen. If yours say something, just hit retry if that pops up, or refresh technology. But it shows you an example of acetone, and it shows you ethyl alcohol and how they're labeled. And acetone is actually the one that you're going to be looking at in a moment. What is an emergency? It goes over the emergency that there's a fire, explosion, severe cuts or bleeding, nausea or fainting, large chemical spills. Those are considered emergencies, and you need to know how to react to them if these emergencies occur. That does not mean scream and run out the room down the hall. There's a process that you need to follow in order to make sure that everyone is safe from that. So what do you do if an emergency arrives? You first tell the teacher that the emergency occurred. You don't run out and go somewhere else. You tell the teacher that the emergency occurs. Make sure that the gas, if there's gas on, you turn it off. You notify. That says Ms. Steiner, but that has changed. Forgot to change that. You will actually notify the teacher that's next door, Ms. Thomas, and then Mr. Mooney, which is on that side. Either one of them. Those are the teachers because they're neighboring teachers. You notify them. Because if this is a fire or an explosion, you don't want to just run out and then you leave them in there and they all just blow up. Notify the nearest assistant principal. If you see one in the hall, you notify them. No one's really near to us. But you see assistant principal, as we're leaving, you notify them. And you evacuate the room toward the west parking lot. So that's the process that you take if an emergency arises. Any questions on that? Good. I know we're all full of cards. So answer this poll question real quick. After going over the SDS, how do you feel about applying it? Basically, all you're doing is reading this form. You really don't have to know, honestly, much of anything. You just got to pick up this paper and know how to read it. That's all you have to really do. Just submit your answers in. Should be a pretty quick poll. It'll let me know where everyone is. For those of you who are like 80%, hopefully by the time you finish that paper that you're going to work on, you can be 100% because it's really simple. Those of you at 50%, hopefully we can get you up to 80% once you finish that. So, this is the data breakdown.
No answer. Really?
So this is data breakdown. Those of you who submitted the poll. So at least a large percentage of you feel somewhat comfortable with this.
It feels weird. I have no control over anything. Good.
All right. So next thing, place that paper in front of you if you haven't started looking at it. Using the information that's attached, your labeling process, what everything is represented by, and then your MSDS. You're going to go through and fill out this paper here. Some of the information you should have been able to fill out as we're going through the PowerPoint, but most of this information will come from the MSDS portion. So take some time and go through and fill that paper out. And then we'll talk a little bit about that before we move on. If you still have a couple of questions over this, just raise your hand and I'll come by and assist you.